So, Byron, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me today. Remind everybody who you are and what it is that you do.
My name is Byron. Hey, it's an honor to be here, Andy. Thank you so much for having me, man. It's an honor. We've been able to do some things over the years.
Yep,
It's an honor having you. It's an honor to be able to come back on your show.
I appreciate
My
that.
name is absolutely 100%. My name is Byron Rodgers. I'm a protector by nature and by trade. I've done executive protection since I was 21. I'm 34 now. I've operated in over 60 countries successfully. Uh, and we did that in the first few years. So I've just been in the industry, kind of doing those types of things on repeat. I have a boutique private security company here in Orange County, California, where we service pretty much every client demographic, just about in the VIP spectrum of security operations. And I also have started the biggest executive protection brand called Executive Protection Lifestyle. I've got the Protector Nation rolling out, which is executive protection lifestyles for executive protection agents, private security professionals. Protector Nation is for civilians who want to learn how to protect themselves, to learn from other professionals at the top of the game, not just myself. And out of that comes the Protector Symposiums and live events that I also facilitate, man, in service of helping good people become more willing, capable, and prepared to deal with evil, helping good people become more dangerous, as I like to say it sometimes.
I like that, helping good people to become more dangerous. And let me tell you, man, so far you are killing it. I'm excited
Thank
for
you,
you, and
sir.
I'm genuinely happy for you and the success that you're having. And I look
Thank
forward
you.
to what you're going to do in the future.
Sounds good.
So, when I was on your show, you asked me a very deep question right out of the gate, and I'm happy to flip the tables on you today. So, Byron, who would you say you are at your core?
At my core, honestly, I would say there are two really big energies, big things. I'm a contributor. I'm ultra contribution centric. Like, you can be a lot of things, man, but um, you know, if you can make a really worthwhile contribution, you know, and I think that's really what a life should be about, is contribution. And the thing that's touching that is the fact that my gifts, I believe, have led me to live a life that, has kind of shown me that my contributions are protection centric. I'm genuinely a warrior at heart, and we kind of ask God, like, how do I serve with these gifts? And I feel like He's shown me ways. I'm a man who just wants to make a contribution, and on so many levels, I could go on a tirade. But to keep it simple, I'm a contributor by the grace of God, if it works out the way I want it to, and I'm a protector. I'm a warrior, really.
Amen, man. I appreciate that. I could definitely appreciate that. So, you've had all this experience in executive protection, and a big part of that job is getting the principal from point A to point B. So, what are some considerations that we all need to take into account when we're getting in the car to go somewhere?
When you're getting in the car, when you're so our most vulnerable times as humans are in what we call the seams. They're in between safe places. So from your garage to your car, from your work environment to your vehicle, getting gas around the seams. But these environments exist on a macro and micro level. So you're going on a road trip, you're on the seams for a long time. You're in transit, you're in an airport, you're in these new environments that you don't usually frequent, that you don't know what the baseline is, and you don't know what danger looks like. You don't know these things in these environments. So anytime you're in these seams, like, clothing where it comes together is the seam. Anytime you're in these environments, or we also call them transitional spaces, because you're in these transitions, these are times when you should really kind of have your ears up and be in peak levels of awareness. And you can use shortcuts to make sure that you're not as vulnerable, such as never stand with your back to an open space when you're in these areas. Pay attention to spots that are not as well lit. Already have a handheld, flashlight with you. I just got off a security detail, but I carry this with me every day, all the time. Already have if you have a weapon of opportunity that is your go-to and you feel a little uncomfortable, follow your instincts. Just be more heightened and more sensitive to security situations when you're in these transitional spaces, and be more vigilant and have a plan. Enter those spaces with a plan. Come up with a plan. Like, okay, cool. Looks like in this work environment, I've got kind of a long walk back to my car. I'm going to be making that walk at 6:30 at night when I actually get out of here. Might be kind of dark. If something does happen to me on that part of my day, in the 800 million days I'm going to be working here, what's my plan? What's my strategy? And you can help tip the scales back in your favor by having a plan, and having layers to that plan ahead of time before something happens. And the more you can rehearse that in your mind, you can psychologically prepare yourself for that stress, and you'll react 100 times better, 100 times faster, hopefully 100 times smarter, and it'll be a positive outcome.
Very good. So when let's say we're actually in the car, we are on the interstate and we're going down the road, what are some signs and some behaviors that you are looking for when you're taking your person from point A to point B?
When we're in transit, we're looking for the driver's body language. So really big one, huge one is positioning. So, I said this to my wife the other day, it's funny, but like, I can understand a person, I can know a person, we can be pretty cool, acquaintances, everything's fine, but no one stands in positions or puts their vehicles in positions that make me vulnerable or that can control my vehicle without me paying attention. I get into an elevator, I'm paying attention to tactical positioning. Same things on the road. Where those other vehicles are around my vehicle at all times is one of my primary concerns, because they can control you, they can take advantage of you, they can turn your car off, they can pit you, and knowing where around your vehicle they can do those things from can give you the nudge you need at the right time to be like, hey, gray sedan, hip pocket. Why is he in our hip pocket? And you can you can communicate with family members or just even for yourself. Why is this guy getting in an advantageous position on me? So positioning is gigantic. I'm very often burning through. So there's the car in front of me, and there is a such thing as car body language. And I think we all kind of like just do it organically, but
Yeah.
pay attention to it. You just know, like, this guy's going to get over it. Like, this guy doesn't want to be in my lane, or this guy's just going to get here and go slow. You kind of know that. But for the protector, the executive protection agent, we're watching the car in front of us. We're burning through that car also to the car in front of them. When we're driving, we're making sure that we're shaded away from oncoming traffic, shaded away from any kind of danger that we perceive through using literally our imagination. Anything we can imagine that's happening, your imagination is kind of going before you and imagining things that you can avoid. Suspicious items on the side of the road, we do watch out for, because the IED threat and things like that. And then two real quick other pointers are body language. If anyone in the vehicle next to me, if I can see in their vehicle, maybe they can see in my vehicle. I am watching their body language to see if they're nervous, to see if they're relaxed, see if they're picking their nose and not paying attention to me, or to see if they're like, yo, what's up with this guy in his car? Like, what are these guys doing? Why they're matching SUVs, which we actually try not to do these days,
Right. Yeah.
So, and then the last thing is on driving is never stop with the car in front of you so close that you can't see the tires on top of your hood. So if you can't see their tires on top of your hood, that means you're too close and you might not be able to maneuver out of there without ramming the car in front of you if you do get attacked. In that position.
It's funny. My dad taught me that when I was driving, to make sure that I stop with, plenty of room. And it's funny because, like, if I ever go pick my kid up from school, I do that. I park that way to go in the school pickup lady. I ain't moving. This is where I need to be.
This is how it is. Like, this is how it works.
This is, you're not going to move me. You talked about car body language, and I think that is so true. I was kind of one of those things that I thought, am I the only person who sees this stuff? So I'm glad to hear somebody else say car body language or car behavioral analysis. I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
Automotive behavioral analysis. Maybe.
Yeah, that sounds good. We can make a course out of it.
You should. Yeah, you should. All right. So when you're planning a trip, you've got your person in the car, I'm sure that you're carrying a lot of stuff with you that you've had to use over the years. What are some things that we as the average family can take with us to make sure that we can have in our car in case of an emergency?
Um, like the first thing that I suggest is medical equipment, man. Um, I mean, it really do you some good to have an AED. They make nice, man. I mean, we spend money on so many things. They make nice portable AED machines. The AED machine does all the work. It tells you what to do. It tells you where to put the patch. It tells you everything to do. You never know when you're going to be sitting at a restaurant. And well, I mean, these days, if we ever get allowed to go back to
Right.
restaurants, but you never know when
Yeah,
you're in a movie
right.
theater or a restaurant or I don't know, just out in your neighborhood and someone starts having a heart attack.
Mhm.
I mean, as a protector, I mean, wouldn't it be awesome to just be able to go out there, slap the pads on take the shirt off, slap the pads on them, and possibly save a life? They can do some heavy lifting for you. So, medical equipment, I think, is huge. AED is a great thing to have. Um, you know, there are medical requirements for something like an EpiPen, depending on the situation. But maybe there'll be someone around who can administer it. I don't know. But I think it's a good thing just to have when it comes to maybe possibly saving someone's life. Your T triple C gear, some aspirin in case there's a heart issue. So really the main thing I like to have is medical equipment with me. And then I do have mission specific things with me, kind of Bluetooth headsets and things like that we can use to turn our phones into two-way radios. I have lawful restraints with me. You know, obviously I have my weapon with me because that's part of my EDC. You know, that's part of what I use to protect people with. So I've always got a weapon with me. Let's see, what else do we fortify vehicles with? You know, one of the major things with a vehicle is we try to set vehicles up the same way at home, the way we set them up when we're operating with them.
Okay.
So, you know, in terms of cell phone placement, the mechanism I use to lock my phone into the vent, all that stuff is the exact same in my work vehicles as my home vehicles. So there's uniformity there.
I like that.
I have a 72-hour bag that I have with me all the time. And that's actually my personal vehicle. Those are, you know, kind of the types of things I always have with me in my personal vehicle. I mean, if in my personal vehicle also, I like to have my second line gear, you know. I have a great excuse because I do private security and I own a company and I go sometimes to places where I'll be wearing a plate carrier, but it's not outside of the rights of a civilian to have second line gear, plate carrier, and those types of things in your vehicle. Some would say, hey, you know, if there's because if someone goes active around you, you want to be able to protect them. This is one of the things I talked about in the event. It's like, look, I do carry second line gear. And I had a bunch of cowboys being like, you're never going to be able to get to that. The only thing you're going to be able to fight with is what's on your body. I'm like, maybe, I don't know, but I don't have a crystal ball, man. And then you saw the attack in Africa. You saw the British SAS guy he got in there and he got it
Yes,
on. And I was
he
like,
did.
you know what? I'm going to have my stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've had a number of church shootings and things
Hmm.
like that where it's like, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. So I do have those things, but I also have them locked up in the vehicle so no one can break my window and take my stuff. So it's very well secured in there. So, you know, those are the types of things I say. Medical equipment, second line gear to feed whatever weapon systems you have, maybe upgrade a weapon system. I keep body armor in there. Comm gear comes down to I always have radios and things like that, but I use the app Zillow to turn my phone into a two-way radio using Bluetooth. We have Bluetooth buttons. Sounds ultra executive protection-y,
It
but you
does.
can use it for your family. That's the thing. Cell phone towers and lines start going down. You can't get a phone call through. You can probably push a Zillow push to talk message through to your people. Those things track locations, different things like that, and then set the phone up. Figure out how you want your navigation and everything in your car situated. Set it up the same way every time, and that's going to give you more reps. So you don't have to solve those problems if you're in an emergency.
Right. I like that. Everything is where it needs to be at the right time. And you're talking about I'd rather have something and not need it than need it and not have it. So
100%.
that is a great way to look at it. You know, you and me, we both like Instagram, and
Woo!
occasionally there'll be these crazy videos that pop up or that people are just raging out on the road. Somebody's the target of road rage. You know, if, you know, the average family somehow, whether it's their fault or not, becomes a target of road rage, what is it that we can do to get ourselves out of a situation like that?
Um, there's a few different types of martial arts I think can really help. And I talk about this quite a bit on my, like when I post these like real world action videos. One of them's called Faster Than You Fu. Faster Than You Fu. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
essentially, it's where you put your ego aside and you get out and you get away. And as we've seen combat situations unfold, like you really might really feel justified for entering into combat, but one is someone else going to feel justified when they watch the tape. Could you have gotten away? This is really the conversation you need to be having.
Right.
And if you could have gotten away, this is an ego issue, and you don't want to take a life over an ego issue. And also, it doesn't matter how big and bad you are. I mean, like, I've been doing this stuff for a long time. I know guys, and I'm not even that bad. Like, I'm like the medium guy, like I know guys, golly, man. And the reality is there's a whole lot of chance in combat. There is a whole lot of chance. There's dudes you don't think and women and people you don't think are a problem that can be a problem or just get lucky,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you have, and then you have to start patching up holes and certain ones you can't patch up. So it's just never really worth it unless you're really trying to save your life or the lives of others. Is I think the best defense is teaching your loved ones that maybe.
Sure. Yeah. Don't ever get yourself into a bad situation that you can't get out of. I like that. I like
Mm-hmm.
faster than you foo.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
that is awesome. So, do you have a story that you can share with us about a time that maybe you were in transit and you had to use your training to get out of a situation, whether it was actually developing or not, or if it was something that you just had your intuition just kind of gave you a red flag? Is there something you can share with us like that?
You know what? I wish it was so pretty. Uh, but I think that we had an incident in the Dominican Republic. Yeah. I'm censoring everything in my head right now.
Sure. Yeah, this is a family show. Thank you for appreciating that. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you're in the
mean,
DR. That's you. Yeah.
it's real. Yeah, it's real, man. And we've been placed. Well, yeah, like it was kidnapping was real. Corruption was very real. These were real threats. And so these were the types of things we were dealing with. And we had a local force with us. Man, these guys were squared away. They were hardcore dudes. I mean, these guys, I'd go into a house right now with these guys in a stack with these guys right now. I wish I could find them and get them on the podcast. They were the real deal, man. And, doing it every single day. And we're on our last day back from our venue, a 3-day venue. So, this is the most dangerous motorcade you've got because any oppositional force has had time to position on you, study your routes.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the information they need. Maybe you've got a couple of routes, you know what I'm saying? So they can set up on all the different ways. They know your choke points. So you just know like it's game time. We got to get back to to our hotel and lock down. But this is the last transitional space we got to hit before we hit the airport. So we're rolling and we see a police roadblock, lights, sirens, police vehicles, decals, totally legit. And the motorcade just blows into this roadblock. Lead car, which I'm in, pushes the police vehicle out of the way. That takes him on the front left and just like, I think actually it was the back of the vehicle and pushes him out of the way, opens it up. I'm in the car with my local guy and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm an accessory. What are you doing? I want to go
Right.
home. Like, what? And he's like, we stop for no one. These are not police. And he's yelling at me. And I'm like, and I just am like, we can't just do crimes, man. Like I'm being like, American boy, like kids do stuff. I mean, Americans don't wear seatbelts, but that was ridiculous. And he's yelling at me, I'm yelling at him. And he's like, are they chasing us? Are they chasing us? He's like, look in the mirror. And I'm like looking in the mirror. And the cops are just sitting back there. And I'm like, we just rammed a police roadblock. And they're not chasing us. So, Yeah, man, we got back. They let us ram the roadblock and drive off. And so it looked like it was what it was, and kind of what I would say to that, and something you hear, Ed and some of the other dudes that I, trade paint
Hmm.
with, is, you really need to learn how to identify um, legitimate law enforcement and be able to know the difference. And you need to know some things about the place you're going to, know what the threat patterns look like, be able to recognize things so you're not paying attention to like a Tijuana zebra and you're getting robbed blind. You know what I'm saying? So um, there are a lot of things you want to try to understand about culture before you go into a place. And otherwise, you just can't see. And if you can't see properly, you can't perceive properly, you can't operate properly. And just respecting that when you travel, you need to be able to understand what you're looking at.
Right. And I think you would probably agree that when people leave the United States, when Americans leave the United States, our the Bill of Rights doesn't follow us. It's we are guests in another place and it's their rules. Am I right?
100%, man. Knowing those rules can save you a lot of trouble, and or knowing how to respect those rules. You know, even if you're not sure, but knowing how to respect those other cultures goes very far.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be the American. You want to be the nice
Yeah,
guy. You don't want to be known
yeah.
as the American. Yeah.
Respect is a universal currency.
Yes,
Essentially, I've learned.
absolutely. I like that. So, man, what is one thing that you wish every family knew about traveling safely?
I would say you're only as strong as your weakest link. You're only as strong as your weakest link. You know, they'll run around and talk about how gray they are and how like, not on the grid and how they control their social media and like, you know, um, you got to understand that you need to, if you're going, especially on a family trip, you have to understand that you need to educate your entire family on how to behave. You need to know, you need your daughter to understand that she can get, poisoned and kidnapped at the hotel. You know what I mean? If you depending on what country you're going to,
Right.
so she is vigilant, so she is paying attention, so she is, staying close to you and not just staring at her cell phone. And that if one of your kids does decide to be like, I'm in, Puerto Vallarta, we're in Paris, that like anyone who's been surveilling you or your house because of, I don't know, the gun picture you posted like a few months ago, or the cool new car, or the cool new thing you got that you posted because you want to share with your friends, knows that you're gone for the next week.
Yep.
And now they can take their time, go in your backyard where no one is, break in your house, take all your stuff, and then leave. Like, and they have all the time to do it,
Yes.
almost, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so, tagging your pictures and all those types of things. Unless I really try to pause all that until I'm back in my house, almost like I'm on a security op, and then I can publish it. And I just think that even if your social media is locked, it's another one like, well, my social media is locked. Like, it's like, fine. No, unless you know every single person in that account, it's not secure. Okay.
Right.
And
Right.
even then, okay.
Mhm.
So you're only as strong as your weakest link. You know, operational security is important, unfortunately, now these days. And if not everyone in your family can maintain OPSEC, as we say in the military, um, it does open you up to some vulnerabilities. And they're selling your information on the way into some of these countries, and then they're looking at your social media, and then they're picking the most attractive targets. And it's no longer just the ultra rich billionaires. It's now those upper middle class that can shell out like maybe 50K if I really put a gun to your head types, which is a lot of people
Mhm.
who can't afford security like I teach and I have businesses about. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. I tell you what, man, that answer was awesome. I appreciate everywhere you went on that. And one thing that I learned from the Protector Symposium, and again, man, congratulations on that. That whole thing was awesome. Everybody who presented talked about the whole you need to share what you have learned with the rest of your team. And in the family unit, your team is your family. And that is
Yes.
one thing. I mean, I went the next day And I started doing stuff with my son that I had not done before. And I was like,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're doing it. So that if you ever see something like this, you know that this is where you need to go. This is what you need to do. Like we were in a store the other day and there's this dude tweaked out smoking like in a store, which is something that happened when I was a kid. Doesn't happen
So he's like
anymore.
on his own. He's
Oh,
on his
yeah.
own
Oh,
page.
he's
He's like
doing his own
having,
thing. And I'm
yeah,
like,
thinking he's the
look
best
at him.
dancer.
Yeah. I'm like, dude, just look at him. If you see
Yeah.
anybody's doing what he is doing, that's not a person you want to be around, you
Right.
know?
It's
So,
an
yeah.
uncontrolled, unknown variable. Like could do anything at any moment.
Yeah. Yeah. He could break out into song or he could pull out a knife. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Byron, I appreciate your time, man. Where can people find you? What are you going to be up to next? And how can people
Sure.
find out more about the Protector Nation?
Yes, yes, sir. So my primary website, Byron Rodgers, Rogers with a D.com or ByronRogersMotivation.com, same place. That's kind of the hub for everything I'm doing. One of the things I didn't mention is I have an executive protection school called the Executive Protection Training Day Success Package. It's a whole digital learning package I've put together to help people who want to get into private security do that effectively. And then I coach them over the course of their career. We've been running for about 8 months. We're almost already at 200 students in the network.
Very
It's
good.
amazing. It'll give you more than any other training, I think, will in the executive protection space. Um, and let's see here, the Protector Symposiums, those are going to be coming up. But next really is the Protector Nation. And that's really where we're going to be publishing long form content from trainers at the top of the game. Imagine the symposium, just monthly you get a content drop with,
That'd
you
be
know, a
great.
few hours. Thank you. Yeah, man, a few hours, long form content. We're not here to entertain you. We're here to give you value for that membership. You get a certificate of completion, a level 1 certificate of completion once you complete the course. So we keep, you know, this is catalog. This goes in your service jacket of this is me, you know, making myself better. And I'm going to pull essentially like you get a meal plan. This is your meal plan for becoming a protector, no matter what your background is, law enforcement, military, concerned, responsible civilian. So that's kind of my next big push. And you can really find all of it at my website, Byron Rodgers or ByronRogersMotivation.com. And then obviously I'm out on Instagram running around Byron_Rodgers, Facebook and YouTube, big, doing a lot of stuff on YouTube now too, as well. So yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for what you've done and what you're going to do. Again, I appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for talking to us and making a contribution to helping us live safer, happier lives, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that means a lot. You use that contribution word, man. Thank you so much. Once again, Andy, it's been an honor and a privilege, man. Thank you.
All right, man. God bless you.
Yep. God bless. Number 5. Out.